The general course of Jewish history in England has been indicated above. The Jews came to England at least as early as the Norman Conquest. They were expelled from Bury St Edmunds in 1190 after the massacre at the coronation of Richard I. They were required to wear badges in 1812. At the end of the 12th century was established the Exchequer of the Jews, which chiefly dealt with suits concerning money lending, and arranged a continual flow of money from the Jews to the royal treasury. And a so called Parliament of the Jews was summoned in 1241. In 1275 was enacted the Statute de Judaismo, which, among other things, permitted the Jews to hold land. But this concession was illusory, and as the statute prevented Jews from engaging in finance, the only occupation which had been open to them. It was a prelude to their expulsion in 1290. There were few Jews in England from that date until the Commonwealth. But Jews settled in the American colonies earlier in the 17th century and rendered considerable services to the advancement of English commerce. The Whitehall Conference of 1655 marks a change in the status of Jews in England itself. For though no definite results emerged, it was clearly defined by the judges that there was no legal obstacle to the return of the Jews. Charles II, in 1664, continued Cromwell's tolerance policy. No serious attempt towards the emancipation of the Jews was made till the Naturalization Act of 1753, which was, however, immediately repealed. Jews no longer attracted to the synagogue, such as the Herschels and the Disraelis, attended to fame. In 1830, the first Jewish Emancipation Bill was brought in by Robert Grant, but it was not till the legislation of 1858 to 1860 that Jews obtained full parliamentary rights. In other directions, progress was more rapid. The office of sheriff was thrown open to Jews in 1835. Moses Montefiore, Sheriff of London, was knighted in 1837. Sir I. L. Goldsmid was made a baronet in 1841. Baron Lionel de Rothschild was elected to Parliament in 1847, though he was unable to take his seat. Alderman Sir David Solomons became Lord Mayor of London in 1855, and Francis Goldsmid was made a QC in 1858. In 1873, Sir George Jessel was made a judge, and Lord Rothschild took his seat in the House of Lords as the first Jewish peer in 1886. A fair proportion of Jews have been elected to the House of Commons, and Mr. Herbert Samuel rose to cabinet rank in 1909. Sir Matthew Nathan has been governor of Hong Kong and Natal, and among Jewish statesmen in the colonies, Sir Julius Vogel and V.L. Solomon have been prime ministers. It is unnecessary to remark in the British colonies that Jews everywhere enjoy full citizenship. In fact, the colonies emancipated the Jews earlier than did the mother country. Jews were settled in Canada from the time of Wolfe, and a congregation was founded at Montreal in 1768. And since 1832, Jews have been entitled to sit in the Canadian Parliament. There are some thriving Jewish agriculturalist communities in the same dominion. In Australia, the Jews from the first were welcomed on perfectly equal terms. The oldest congregation is that of Sydney, 1817, The Melbourne community dates from 1844. Reverting to incidents in England itself, in 1870, the abolition of university tests removed all restrictions on Jews at Oxford and Cambridge, and both universities have since elected Jews to professions and other posts of honour. The communal organisation of English Jewry is somewhat inchoate. In 1841, an independent Reform congregation was founded, and the Spanish and Portuguese Jews have always maintained their separate existence with a hacham as the ecclesiastical head. In in 1870 was founded the United Synagogue, which is a metropolitan organization, and the same remark applies to the more recent Federation of Synagogues. Chief Rabbi, who is the ecclesiastical head of the United Synagogue, has also a certain amount of authority over the provincial and colonial juries, but this is nominally rather than real. The provincial juries, however, have participated in the election of the chief rabbi. At the end of 1909 was held the first conference of Jewish ministers in London, and from this is expected some more systematic organization of scattered communities. Anglo Jewry is rich. However, in charitable, educational, and literary institutions, chief among these respectively may be named the Jewish Board of Guardians, 1859, the Jews College, 1855, and the Jewish Historical Society, 1893. Despite the distinctions already noted, English Jews have risen to note in theology. C. G. Montefiore in literature, Israel Zangwill and Alfred Sutro. In art, S. Hart, R.A., and S. J. Solomon, R.A. In music, Julius Benedict and Frederick Hayman Cowan. More than 1,000 English and colonial Jews participated as active combatants in the South African War. The immigration of Jews from Russia was mainly responsible for the ineffective yet oppressive Aliens Act of 1905. It is saddening to be compelled to close this record with the statement that the progress of the European Jews received a serious check by the rise of modern anti-Semitism in the last quarter of the 19th century. While in Russia this took the form of actual massacre, in Germany and Austria it assumed the shape of social and civic ostracism. In Germany, Jews are still rarely admitted to the rank of officers in the army. University posts are very difficult of access. Judaism and its doctrines are denounced in medieval language, and a tone of hostility prevails in many public utterances. In Austria, as in Germany, anti-Semitism is a factor of the parliamentary elections. The legend of the ritual murder has been revived, and every obstacle is placed in the way of the free intercourse of Jews with their Christian fellow citizens. In France, Edouard Adolphe Droumont led the way to a similar animosity, and the popular fury was fanned by the Dreyfus case. It is generally felt, however, that this recrudescence of anti-Semitism is a passing phase in the history of culture. The Zionist movement. The Zionist movement, founded in 1895 by Theodor Herzl, was in a sense the outcome of anti-Semitism. Its object was the foundation of a Jewish state in Palestine, but though it aroused much interest, it failed to attract the majority of the emancipated Jews, and the movement has of late been transforming itself into a more effort of colonization. Most Jews not only confidently believe that their own future lies in progressive development within the various nationalities of the world, but they also hope that a similar consummation is in store for the yet as unemancipated branches of Israel. Hence, the Jews are in no sense internationally organized. The influence of the happier communities has been exercised on behalf of those in whose position by individuals such as Sir Moses Montefiore rather than by societies or leagues. From time to time, incidents arise which appeal to the Jewish sympathies everywhere, and joint actions ensue. Such instances were the Damascus charge of ritual murder, 1840, the forcible baptism of the Italian child Mortara, 1858, and the Russian pogroms of various dates. But all attempts at an international union of Jews, even in view of such emergencies as these, have failed. Each country has its own local organization for dealing with Jewish questions. In France, the Alliance of Israelite, founded in 1860. In England, the Anglo-Jewish Association, founded in 1871. In Germany, the Hilfsverein der Deutschen Juden, and in Austria, the Israelitische Allianz zu Wien, founded in 1872. In America, the American Jewish Committee, founded in 1906, and similar organizations in other countries deal only incidentally with political affairs. They are concerned mainly with the education of Jews in the Orient and the establishment of colonies and technical institutions. Baron Hirst founded the Jewish Colonial Association, which has undertaken vast colonizing and educational enterprises, especially in Argentina, and more recently, the Jewish Territorial Organization has been started to found a home for the oppressed Jews of Russia. All these institutions are performing a great regenerative work, and the tribulations and disappointments of the last decades of the 19th century were not all lost. The gain consisting in the rousing of the Jewish conscience to more virile efforts towards a double end to secure the persecuted and ennoble the ideas of the emancipated.